page is separated here. Moving on, Moss Point defeated Greene County 46-13. Grenada, which is having a great season, defeated Center Hill 39-0. That makes Grenada now 7-2 on the season. Certainly one of their best seasons in recent memory. The report I had on Hartfield, they remain undefeated. They won the 11th game of the year. Defeated Madison St. Joe tonight 43-14. It was Hattiesburg shutting out Pearl River Central 46-0. Certainly hope we'll get a report from Mike from Hattiesburg about the Tigers tonight. They're now 6-2 on the season and having a very good year. DeSoto Central defeated Hernando by the score of 35-21. It was Kemper County edging Enterprise Clark 36-35. Kossuth over Mantachie 43-3. Columbia remains undefeated. They're now 9-0. They defeated Lawrence County 41-14. It was Newton County over Leake Central 56-27 was the final there. East Webster over Mooreville 42-14. Northeast Jones defeated Morton 30-14. Choctaw County over Nettleton by the score of 39-20. Moving North Mississippi, Oxford over South Haven 29-7. Meridian won their 5th game, beating Petal 27-8. Picayune, at last report, and this was not a final, I believe this was a 4th quarter score, Picayune was shutting out Long Beach 35-0. Tylertown, by the same score, 35-0, beat St. Patrick. Wesson 42, South Pike 20. This was a 4th quarter score and a very close game and an unusual, well, kind of an unusual score. I say unusual because Tupelo was heavily favored over Clinton tonight, but in the 4th quarter, Tupelo was leading Clinton 35-28. The game was tied at 21 at the half. Now, you remember Tupelo, now, 6-2 going into this game, had a huge win over Germantown last Thursday night. Big win by a 40-point margin. Clinton had gotten romped by Starkville last Friday night, 60-20-something. And so anyway, not sure of the final of that game, but Tupelo was leading late by a touchdown. Union beat Sebastopol 56-21. Warren Central, now 9-1. They defeated Neshoba Central 27-3. It was George County over West Harrison, 54-19. Winona, who is kind of, some of these schools oftentimes in some of the lower classifications tend to fly underneath the radar, but Winona's now 9-0 in 3A. They defeated Amanda Elsie tonight by the score of 38-6, and Amanda Elsie was 6-1 on the season, so that's another big win for Winona. And going into tonight's action, I always will give us some of these numbers that I think, statistically kind of, are interesting. There were a total of 14 teams. There are 309 teams that we track in football in Mississippi. And there were 14 teams that had not won a game up through last weekend. And there were a total of 17 undefeated teams. So it's kind of unusual that I don't know if that's unusual, but they're tracking almost exactly the same number, winless and undefeated. But anyway, that's a rundown of what we have to this point. Want to remind you again that 11:30 tonight, we will have Noah Crow giving us the Cra Z 8 report. That's something that Russ started, 4 or 5 years ago and has continued to grow and blossom. And Noah is running with that segment of our show, and he will have that at 11:30 tonight. Also want to remind you that, and Russ wanted to definitely remind you again of people that the All-Star games are coming up on December 9th and December 15th. And this Owl game is on December 15th, and hopefully we'll have some conversation later on in the evening with Judd Boswell about that particular game. If you're listening tonight all over the state of Mississippi, from north to south, you got 8 channels, MPB, Mississippi Public Broadcasting, and this is our second year in the studios here at MPB, and certainly glad to be here, and most accommodating, and have been a big help to our show by originating from here. Also, Russ is normally the play-by-play guy for Jackson Prep, trying to track down the final score of Jackson Prep and MRA. Now, that was a high-scoring game, and the last reports that I saw was that Prep had a lead in the second half of about 8 points, but don't have a final as of yet. Certainly, hopefully, we'll get some more, a report on that particular game in just a few moments.
Well, and you never know when, depending on when that ends. John Marcus Duncan is supposed to be calling in,
Yeah.
but he has not done so yet.
Well, and that's a possibility that some of these games that are high scoring, are kind of stretching a little bit. And
when it's not a big running game, this clock just literally.
No,
it's just not running like that.
No, it doesn't
We're not
run.
used to those running half games.
No, football's not like it used to be, Chris. I used to go to Memorial Stadium and watch ball games, and back in the day, and you could just about count they would last about 2.5 hours. And now a college football game, if you can get it under 4 hours, you're lucky. All right, so this is a report. I'm not sure who this is coming from. MRA defeated Prep 50-44 in overtime. I'm not sure if that's from Will or from Dave Showles, but the report MRA defeated Prep 50-44 in overtime. So that must have been.
That's one reason we haven't heard from Marcus Duncan.
Yeah. Okay.
The other thing I was going to tell you is that 8-man deal that we do.
Yep.
You always have something that people that advertise with you really grasp on. You're a little surprised sometimes, but that's been one of them this year. The cricket people really like the idea of sending cricket people to all those 8-man games and have them then interviewed by Noah.
Yeah.
And that doesn't always happen, but something clicks with it. They go, yeah, we're in with that. Like that 8-man.
Yeah, it's a different style of play, certainly, and gives the smaller schools a chance to, field a competitive team and have a good team and a good outing. Just remind you some of the scores that we have. Poplarville defeated Bay High by the score of 38-24. Mentioned that there was a fourth quarter score. Ocean Springs was leading Biloxi by the score of 42-14. I think we do have a caller. Not quite ready for that yet, but Brandon was leading Pearl late 42-20 was the final there. I think we're going to get a call here from Matt Timms in just a few moments.
Yeah, he's not quite ready to be hooked in yet.
All right. Calhoun Central over Water Valley by the score of 40-14. Let's see. Clarksdale over New Hope 35-7. Mentioned Gaucher won again. They're 5-3 on the season. They defeated East Central by the score of 34-7. Nanawaya won tonight, beating Ethel 30-22. Philadelphia over Eupora 56-14. Quitman beat Forest 35-14. Chris, looking at the clock there, we may have to hold that call until we get to after the next break. We've got a hard break at 15 after, so
we'll go ahead and finish up, giving them a few more scores, then we'll go into break.
Okay.
Music can come back with Matt Timms on the phone.
Okay. DeSoto Central defeated Hernando by the score of 35-21. Mentioned Columbia won again. They're now 9-0, defeating Lawrence County 41-14. Newton over Leake Central 56-27. East Webster defeated Moorville 42-14. Choctaw County over Nettleton 39-20 was the final there. And Oxford defeated South Haven by the score of 29-7. All right, so that covers our first part of the program, and we'll be here until 12 o'clock tonight, so we've got another hour and 45 minutes to go. But a lot of calls coming up, and we remind you that support for Friday Night Under the Lights comes from Malone Roofing. Malone Roofing specializes in metal walls and maintenance and roofing. They serve Mississippi, Alabama, Louisiana, and Florida's Panhandle. Commercial and residential roofing information can be found on their website which is ecmalone.com. We'll be back with more Friday Night Under the Lights in just a moment.
People who come to Cricket stay with Cricket. Like one of our favorite customers, Michelle.
I started my own app company, and with Cricket, I'm able to answer calls from my engineers and investors and know my signal's going to be great. If I had to describe Cricket in 2 words, they would be reliable and affordable.
5G Boss Mode activate. Smile, you're on Cricket.
Hello, Mississippi. Did you know that the average student graduates college with $30,000 worth of debt? That amount of debt can delay major life milestones, including getting married, buying a home, and starting a family. But don't worry, we've got some good news for you tonight. College Savings Mississippi and Treasurer David McRae can help you reduce or eliminate that debt. Their plans are flexible and affordable. Start saving for as little as $25 today. Visit treasury.ms.gov/college savings to learn more.
I'll be right over. Whoa, how'd you get your house fixed so fast? One call to EC Malone. If you don't know Malone, you don't know roofing. But what about insurance? They work with my insurance company so I don't have to. My repairs can begin without delay. Amazing. I'll call EC Malone Roofing right away. Thanks, Malone.
If the money's yours, you should have it. That's why State Treasurer David McRae has returned a record $80 million in unclaimed money to Mississippians. And there's hundreds of millions more, maybe with your name on it. Check the list. Visit www.treasury.ms.gov and see if you have any of the unclaimed money. Each year, banks, utilities, businesses, brokers, and insurance companies turn over millions of dollars to the state because they're not sure who is entitled to the funds. Treasurer McRae has an entire unclaimed money staff waiting to take your claim and return your money. Check the list today. Treasury.ms.gov.
And we're back. It's section 2 of tonight of Friday Night Under the Lights here on week 8 of FNUTL. And George, we've got Matt Timms holding on the phone. Are you ready?
Absolutely. Matt, you with us?
I'm here.
All right. I think you're calling about Central Holmes Academy. Give us a report on that game tonight.
Way up in Avon, Mississippi, just a little south of Greenville, and basically out in the middle of cotton patches. Central Holmes Trojans took on the Bulldogs up there from Riverside and beat them 20-8. But the real victors for the referees, who called back 4, legitimately 5 touchdowns, so they scored 35 points. If you want to look at it that way.
Okay.
Hard-hitting game, but the worst officiating game I've seen in a long time. But a hard-hitting game. John, the quarterback, and a couple of the running backs scored, but the defense had a pick six, and late in the game that kind of turned the tide, and then they just really started hitting hard and shutting down Riverside. That they just couldn't do anything.
Well, that makes Central Holmes now 5-3, so that may put them in a pretty good position.
Yeah, it's kind of somebody's going to have to sit down and figure out what the seedings are with the playoffs, with them winning, but also with Greenville Christian getting shut down, how that's going to shuffle everything, because you've got Kirk Academy out there, Canton Academy, and whoever else. So I'm not sure how it's going to shake out, but winning this game doesn't help or hurt, but it's good. It's good for the team. It's just doesn't have any effect on the standing.
Right, I got you. Well, Matt, thanks for the call tonight. We appreciate you calling in, and sound like a tough ball game, but a good game to win.
Yeah, it was, man. We appreciate it. God bless y'all. Y'all have a good weekend.
All right, you too. Thanks a lot. Thanks for the call.
All right, take care, man. Bye-bye.
All right, moving down some other scores. Clarksdale, who had that big win last weekend against West Point, won again tonight, beating New Hope by the score of 35-7. Similar score, 35-7. Copiah Academy beat Wayne Academy 35-7. Copiah is now 8-2 on the season, which is probably one of their best seasons that they've had in quite some time. Gaucher over East Central, 34-7. Kind of a similar score. Nanawaya defeated Ethel tonight by the score of 30-22. Nanawaya is one of my favorites. I mean, Nanawaya, Thrasher, Stringer, Noxapater. I mean, those are some of my favorite names, or town names. Philadelphia beat Eupora by the score of 56-14. Quitman over Forest. That's a 6-2 going into the game. Quitman team against 7-1 Forest. But the report we have is that Quitman won that game 30-14. Let's see. Moss Point won again tonight. That's only their second win of the year. They beat Greene County 46-13. And we've got Grenada shutting out Center Hill by the score of 39-0. Hartfield won again. Chris, that's a great story. I mean, it's a story for sure. But Hartfield's emergence to seem like they're kind of in that dominant between MRA, Prep, and Hartfield. Hartfield right now has gotten the better of both MRA and Prep.
And they have, and it's taken them
few years.
5 years.
Yeah,
I'm trying to go back to when they started. They struggled up front, but it's just gotten stronger and stronger and stronger.
Yeah,
they look good.
Yeah, they've looked good, and I mean, I have not seen them play in person, but I have seen them on some video, and that's a big football team. And Russ commented on that last weekend about what a big football team Hartfield had.
And I think it's neat with the MAIS that we could have more than a couple of schools at the top there that could fight it out every year.
Right.
I think it makes it more. I know schools love to be the one winning, but the crowd likes watching more than one people beat up on each other.
Well, yeah, I mean, it makes it more entertaining for sure.
You mean this is entertainment?
I would think so. All right. Let's see. DeSoto Central defeated Hernando by the score of 35-21. Ty is working on getting us a couple of calls, but he's having a hard time getting somebody off the air. Kemper County defeated Enterprise Clark 36-35. It was Columbia over Lawrence County 41-14. Newton County over Leake Central 56-27. Let's see. East Webster over Mooreville by the score of 42-14. Northeast Jones defeated Morton tonight 30-14. Choctaw County beat Nettleton by the score of 39-20. Let's see. Mentioned Meridian. Meridian had that win last week. Kind of a surprise win over Northwest Rankin. And they won again tonight. They won over Petal at home by the score of 27-8 was the final score.
Weren't we talking about them earlier in the season as just not sure, or maybe they were building up and getting better, and they finally sort of come into their own?
Well,
it's just late in the season, but it's also late in the season when it counts right at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely, and they've got a good running back, and that's certainly helped. I think we got a call now. Tommy Barnett calling in for Jackson Academy.
We do. Ready?
Yeah, we're ready.
There you go.
All right, Tommy.
George.
Good to talk to you.
How are you, sir?
Well, we're fine. We're kind of playing shorthanded tonight, but we're making it work. But tell us about Jackson Academy tonight.
Yeah, senior night is a Brickyard, and we're facing the PCS Bobcats, and really winner of this game locks up the 4 seed and secures a first-round home playoff game. And first quarter, guys, teams traded scores 14-7. JA after 1. Jay blew it open in the second quarter, outscored PCS 27-0. So 41-7 at the half. Final score was JA 62, PCS 22.
Whoa.
Yeah, Jay had almost 500 yards of total offense tonight. Carter Matheson had right at 200 yards through the air and 4 touchdowns tonight. And then Amari and Ellis had just over 200 on the ground and a touchdown. And Jay actually scored in all 3 phases: offense, defense, and special teams.
Wow, that's a great a margin of victory there, 62-22. So that makes Jackson Academy 7-3 on the season. I'm sure that the home crowd enjoyed that game tonight on senior night.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, and actually had a lot of seniors that contributed and scored. And, of course, more importantly, guys, like I said, just winning that game, you secure the 4th seed. So next week we will travel to Flowood to face the mighty Hartfield Hawks, and then come back home for a first-round playoff game against PCS, and the winner of that game gets Hartfield in the semifinals of 6A.
Wow. So you get to play them at least twice, maybe.
That's right, yeah. Pretty much more than likely going PCS, Hartfield, PCS, 2 teams over the next 4 weeks.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of a strange deal, but that's just sort of the way it works out. Tommy, thanks so much for calling and giving us that report. We appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. Y'all have a great weekend.
All right, you too. Thank you very much.
Jared Schatz.
We got Jared Schatz calling in for Germantown. Jared, give us a report. I have not gotten a score for about the Germantown game.
Wow, I hate to be the guy to break the score for the state of Mississippi, George.
Uh-oh.
But, yeah, good to talk to you guys. The bad news, if you wear the Cardinal red and gold, we lost 49-0 to Madison Central tonight.
Wow.
Yeah, and that score was really not indicative of how this game went. It could have been a lot worse. Jaguars just dominated with the running game. We lost kickoffs. We gave them short fields all night. This team really, since that magical win against Starkville 2 weeks ago, has just really fallen on hard times. Listen to this stat. So they beat Starkville 34-33 2 weeks ago, biggest win in program history. But it might have been the worst thing that happened to this team. We go for Tupelo, lose 42-3 last week. We get blanked 49-0 tonight on senior night. So that means we have been outscored in the last 2 contests, 91-3.
Wow.
And,
that's hard to believe.
Kind of a head scratcher, yeah.
Yeah, that's really hard to believe because that was such a huge. Starkville is really talented, no question about it. They've had some ups and downs, but they are a really good team. And for Germantown to win that game, and I know playing Tupelo on the road is tough, but Madison Central is kind of your crosstown rival there. And I'm sure they expected a better outcome tonight.
Yeah, well, it's funny you say that, George, because I was talking to Coach Mitchell before the game, and I kind of asked him that question about Madison Central. I said, is this really a rivalry yet? Because Germantown's never won it. And there's, definitely some folks that have said maybe Germantown has been too amped for this ball game, too emotional. Meanwhile, it's kind of business as usual for Madison Central. And that was, again, the case tonight as it has been in the 4 previous meetings.
Yeah.
And he said to me, and this is why I like Coach Mitchell, he said, Jared, it's not a rivalry until we actually win one.
Yeah.
And he's right. And so, yeah, it's for right now, it's a rivalry for Germantown, not so much for Madison Central.
Yeah. Well, thanks for calling, Jared. We appreciate the report nonetheless. We know Germantown, we've got some games left. There's season left, so better luck next week.
Absolutely. Thanks, George. Y'all have a good night.
All right, you too. Thanks a lot, Jared. All right, so we've completed the first half hour of Friday Night Under the Lights, and we'll have more program coming up in just a moment. But we want to remind you that support for Friday Night Under the Lights comes from College Savings Mississippi, a division of the State Treasury of Mississippi. Back in just a moment.
Did you know HBCUs are a great place to network? Did you know Cricket has a great network with speedy 5G and is a proud supporter of HBCUs? Yes.
Everybody already knows.
Dante, did you know this is an A and B conversation? So you need to see yourself out. He knows now.
Can't process your insurance claim until your request is finished with underwriting. We need more details of all damages to process your insurance claim. Only be sent once we finish processing your insurance claim.
It's going to be a little while before you get that
your
second
roof is
final.
leaking, but that doesn't help us process your request underwriting. Next season, boys. We work directly with your insurance provider so you don't have to. That means we can get to work without delay. If you don't know Malone, you don't know roofing.
1 in 10 Mississippians has unclaimed money awaiting claim at the state treasury. There's literally hundreds of millions of dollars waiting to be united with the rightful owner. At www.treasury.ms.gov to search, you'll see your name and stake your claim by following these instructions. You'll be asked for some basic ID like a copy of your license or a government-issued ID, then hit send. Treasurer David McRae has a dedicated unclaimed money team awaiting your claim, ready to return your money. Don't wait. Look for your name and stake your claim today. www.treasury.ms.gov.
People who come to Cricket stay with Cricket. Like one of our favorite customers, Michelle.
I started my own app company, and with Cricket, I'm able to answer calls from my engineers and investors and know my signal's going to be great. If I had to describe Cricket in 2 words, they would be reliable and affordable.
5G boss mode activate. Smile, you're on Cricket.
And George, we had a great first half of the show. Ready for the second half of the show, and away we go.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you for joining us again on Friday Night Under the Lights. As we continue on, we want to move now to another caller. We have Brendan Farrell, I believe, on the phone.
Yep, here we go. Hello, Brendan.
Hey, how's it going?
We're doing okay. How about yourself?
I'm doing all right.
Good, good. I think you're calling about Amory and Ripley. Tell us about that game. Those 2 undefeated teams.
Yeah, you know, the Amory situation, they're playing that game up here in Tupelo, but tight defensive battle, you know, between 2 previously undefeated teams, and Ripley ended up coming up on top 14-10.
14-10. Now that sounds like a football game that was played 25 or 30 years ago. I mean, that's a football game, not a track meet.
Yeah, no, it was defensive, hard-nosed football for sure.
Well, so, those are 4A schools. I mean, obviously that's a district game, is it not?
It is. That decided the region champion. So Amory still has a game to go, but this was Ripley's last region game, so the region will go to Ripley.
Okay, and the game was played at Amory, correct?
Well, it's played at, technically it was Amory home game, but it was played at Tupelo High.
Oh. Okay. Yeah. All right. Yeah. I think I know what you're talking about there. Storm damage prevented that, so they played at Tupelo. Okay. Does Amory play all their games like that?
Yeah, I mean, they've only had 3 quote-unquote home games, and they were all played at Tupelo, but all the others have been on the road.
Well, that's pretty remarkable to have an undefeated season. You really don't have a home field advantage. They're having a good year for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Okay. All right, Brendan. Thank you so much for the call. We appreciate it, and call us back again and give us a report next week.
Sounds good. Will do.
All right. Thank you. All right. Let's move to another caller. Now we have James Murphy of the Daily Journal. He gives us some North Mississippi reports.
Here you go.
All right. James, thank you for being with us.
Guys, yeah, you guys got it.
All right. I think I know you called last week, and I believe you gave us a report on Biggersville. Is that who you're calling about this week?
Yep, I covered their game against Baldwin last night.
Okay. All right. Well, give us a report on that game.
The Biggersville ended up winning that one 35-14. It was actually pretty close early on. Baldwin got out to a hot start. They got up to a 14-7 lead in the second quarter, and then Biggersville got a touchdown to tie it, and then just before halftime, they had a touchdown pass to go ahead. Biggersville did, and they kind of just ran away with it from there. And I believe Biggersville won Region 1-1A with that one, but even then, I think if Baldwin is able to make the playoffs, which I do think they will in 1A, they're going to be an interesting team. The Baldwin did really impress me in that one, and Biggersville, that athleticism is just insanely hard to stop when it's going.
Yeah. And, it's and you were telling us about this last week, but for a 1A school, Biggersville has got a lot of talent.
Yeah, 100%. Jason Hatch is a unicorn for 1A, or for 1A in general. They got also a terrific quarterback in Drew Rousey, who, I talked to Case Ingram after the game. He said that might have been the best game he played all season, and it certainly looked like it. Also, guys like Craig Gunn at wide receiver, they're just loaded with skill position players, and they're going to be tough to stop in 1A.
Yeah. Do you have any other games from North Mississippi that you could share with us?
So Choctaw County beat Nettleton 39-20. East Webster beat Moorville 42-14. Shannon beat Itawamba 51-27. I think Itawamba has to win next week in order to make the playoffs. Houston beat, if I'm pronouncing this right, Kosciuszko 54-35, and then Hamilton beat East Union 24-14.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much for giving us those scores, because some of those we have not mentioned tonight. And appreciate your report, and we'll talk to you next week, James.
You got it. Talk to you then.
All right. Thank you very much. All right. Well, we were
Jake
kind of...
Wimberly's next.
Okay. Yeah. That's the thing about it.
You don't...
We kind of go from feast to famine here,
Yeah,
but we got Jake on the line.
Jake and Joseph Craven. So here's Jake.
All right. Here's Jake.
Hello, Jake.
Chris, George, how are you guys tonight?
Well, we're doing fine. You know how it is, Jake. Sometimes you have to play hurt, and that's kind of the way we're playing tonight. But we're getting along. We're doing okay. Your game against the Eat Dirt game, the famous Eat Dirt game in Rankin County, Brandon and Pearl. Apparently, the Bulldogs had a pretty good night.
They did, but look, I mean, this was a 73rd edition of this rivalry, and everybody that follows high school football, you guys obviously know this as good as anybody. I mean, you're talking about 10,000 people in the building at Ray Rogers Stadium, close to it over there. It was a packed house, a great atmosphere. And look, Pearl has a really good football team. Justin Hunter's done a great job really kind of re-energizing that program. And Pearl gave Brandon all they wanted in the first half. Jack Durr, the quarterback for Pearl, is a phenomenal sophomore quarterback. He ripped off a run of about 65 yards for a touchdown, another 13-yard touchdown run. Pearl had that ball game 17-14 at the half. And then Brandon made some adjustments in the second half. They picked Durr off twice. They converted those into points both times. But the story of the night for Brandon was, Pearl was set out to stop the Brandon run game. And for the most part, they did that. I think unofficially on my stats, I think I had Brandon somewhere around 75 total rushing yards for the night. And it was well under 100. And that's a season low. I mean, you got to go all the way back to the 50 game to the first game of the season. But Landon Barnes hooked up with Jay McQueen, who was converted Jay McQueen is a converted quarterback to wide receiver. He's committed to Southern Miss to play baseball. He's a junior. He ties a school record tonight with 5 touchdown catches. So Landon Barnes hooked up with him 5 different times tonight, and that was the difference in the ball game. I mean, you talk about the turnovers. Brandon turned into the air game, something that obviously they did a lot with last year. They returned to that tonight. 5 touchdowns. McQueen actually had a 6th that he, a Pearl defender made a break on the ball. It would have been his 6th, which would have been the school record. But Brandon walks off tonight, 42-20. They're sitting at first place in Region 3-7A now, with Meridian coming in next week, and then got to go to Northwest Rankin. But with a win against a very good Meridian team next week, Dogs can lock up Region 3-7A. And then, of course, if they, was to get the win against Northwest Rankin, they would have home field advantage throughout the 7A playoffs.
Yeah, which could be really, really important because there's some awfully good teams in the South. Meridian, just thinking about them, and Chris and I were talking about them earlier, they got off to a little bit of a slow start, but they seem like they've gotten things together the last 2 or 3 weeks.
Well, that's that whole Marcus Bulls juju, right? I mean, we've seen that at Taylorsville and Petal and Wayne County, and now we're starting to see that over at Meridian. And, Daniel Hill, the running back over there, he's going to play in the Southeastern Conference next year. Looks like he's going to play probably out of state. I think his last 3 teams said that he's down to, I believe, unofficially South Carolina, Tennessee, and maybe Alabama. Somebody can correct me on that. It's not an in-state school. So I think what they have done, based on what we've seen, is they've just moved Hill. He's the go-to guy. He's the go-to guy in an offense that is starting to click for them. So Marcus Bulls has really got that team humming right now.
Well, Jake, thanks for that report. That's one that we were really counting on talking about tonight. Brandon and Pearl, great game as usual. And thank you for calling in, and we'll look forward to talking to you next week.
Absolutely, guys. Talk to y'all next week. Have a great weekend.
All right, you too. Thank you. Chris, I think we got time enough to get another call in.
Joseph Craven in Hartfield.
All right, let's go to Joseph. Joseph, the Hartfield Hawks are really got another victory tonight. Go to 11-0.
11-0, yeah. The school record for wins in a season keep falling, and we're enjoying the ride for a young school and a school that's only been in the NAIS 6A this is our 3rd season in 6A. I mean, we're just embracing every single moment and enjoying it for sure. But it was a very normal 43-15 score line. That's the score line you see in football all the time, right? 43-15.
No, not that often, but pretty good margin. And you beat Madison St. Joe. So it was at St. Joe, correct?
It was, yeah. Okay. And it's always nice to get up there on there. They have a lovely little campus. I love being able to look out from the press box and see the little pond they have right behind the visitor section. It's really cool, really unique.
Yeah. Well, Hartfield, you talk about 11-0. I mean, the little school that I came from, I think we won 11 games in 5 years. So, I mean, winning 11 in 1 year is significant. I mean, regardless of, where you're playing, that's a big deal.
It is. It absolutely is. I know that pain. I think I won 11 games in my high school playing career, but I was on the basketball team.
Oh,
so
that's even worse.
Yeah, exactly. But no, you're absolutely right. Yeah, it is. It's a great accomplishment, and there's a lot of credit due to the entirety of the coaching staff. The assistant coaches that coach the JV squad that kind of implement the same schemes that then those players graduate into the varsity squad, and it's just a well-oiled machine. It's a very cohesive staff, and of course, I'm an employee at the school. I'm not in the athletic department, but I do get to every now and then they let a nerd like me wander in and hang out some, and it's just a pleasure to see how well they all work together. And obviously, the credit ultimately goes to the players making the plays, but right. I do think that's how you have to build that culture. When you're a young school, you have to build a culture. You don't have a storied history. You don't have the history and tradition of the teams that go back, to the 60s, 70s, whenever they were founded. Right. You have to find an identity to start with, and you have to look for that first. And I think the school's done a good job with it, and the coaches have done a good job establishing that.
Yeah, sounds like it. It sounds like Hartfield is going to be something to be reckoned with in the MAIS for many years to come. Joseph, thanks for the call.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, Hopefully we will, and even if we're not, we're enjoying the ride while we're here. That's
Right.
for sure.
Absolutely.
It's a lot of fun. Like you guys said earlier, parity is a lot of fun in the NAIS.
All right. Thanks a lot, Joseph. We look forward to talking to you next week. All right. Support for Friday Night Under the Lights comes from the State Treasury of Mississippi and College Savings Mississippi, the administrators of the Mississippi Affordable College Savings Plan. Back with more Friday Night Under the Lights in just a moment.
When storms rage, Malone responds. From claim to completion, Malone Roofing has helped rebuild communities for nearly 50 years. Contact Malone for 24/7 service at ecmalone.com.
Mississippi football families, have you thought about how you're going to tackle student loan debt? Don't do it on your own. Pass the ball to State Treasurer David McRae and his College Savings Mississippi team today. With College Savings Mississippi, you can lock in today's tuition rate, prepaid college, and avoid student loan debt altogether. Don't let your finances get sacked because you didn't invest in your child's education. Visit treasury.ms.gov/college savings to learn more today.
Did you know HBCUs are a great place to network? Did you know Cricket has a great network with speedy 5G and is a proud supporter of HBCUs?
Yes. Everybody already knows.
Dante, did you know this is an A and B conversation? So you need to see yourself out. He knows now.
See your name and file your claim. Even the smallest counties in Mississippi usually have thousands of people whose names are on the unclaimed money list at the Mississippi State Treasury. That's right. Many counties even have tens of thousands of names listed, totaling tens of millions in unclaimed dollars. Since he's been state treasurer, David McRae has returned a record $80 million to Mississippians who've searched the list, found their names, and staked their claim. About 1 in 10 Mississippians have unclaimed money, and that's why you should check www.treasury.ms.gov or click on Unclaimed Money and search today. If you see your name, file your claim. If it's your money, Treasurer David McRae will get it back to you.
And we're back, George. A lot of information, a lot of good information in that first 3/4 of an hour, because there's been just a lot of big games.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say blowouts, but yeah, there have been some blowouts.
Yeah.
But I'm still looking at it going, it's going to be a wild time into the playoffs.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a really determination yet exactly who's all going to make it.
No, there's not. No question about it. We're in district play, and these games count. These games are important. Some of these games are very pivotal. Let's see. I think we've got another caller on the phone. I believe Harold.
Right?
Harold, yeah. Let's go to Harold first.
Here we go. Harold's first.
All right, Harold. I believe you're calling about Petal. They had played against Meridian tonight.
Yeah, we went up to Meridian and faced our old former Coach Marcus Bowles, and we like to keep saying every week, we've got a young squad. But you can say one good thing about it: the defense played their heart out. They held them in the first quarter and went down, and Meridian was ready to score, I think, before the half, and they held them. And it was just, the defense played their heart out. The teams got that mentality, you want to win. They were up like it was last week with Pearl, and I just don't know what happened. But then this week, they go up and get a defeat to Meridian 27-8. So,
yeah.
But this is all and to the coaching staff, Coach Glenn and all of them, I'm right behind you 100%. We've still got a great staff at Tuttle High School with Coach Hogue and Robert Knight and Matt Dillon and all of them. They're an excellent. This is an excellent school district to be in and be a part of, and I'm glad I'm a part of it and want to stay a part of them. And you know, I wouldn't give nothing to be a part of that squad. I know the heartache of defeat it's just not good, but hey, bright days are coming. Brighter days are coming.
Absolutely. Well, Petal's a great school district, as you said, and like you said, they've got a great staff, great facilities, and you know, sometimes I mean, these games are hard. I mean, you know, everybody in 7A is pretty good. I mean, there's not a weak team there.
And let me put this in, George. They could be, and I'm not going to make this prediction, but it might, you know, come back on me next week. But they could be a spoiler against Northwest Rankin getting in next week because, you know, Northwest Rankin's got to come here, and Northwest Rankin has got 2 defeats under the belt right now that should, in my book, been a win for Northwest Rankin. I thought Northwest Rankin at the time was better than what they're playing.
Right.
And to say what Jake said about Pearl, hey, don't count the Pearl Pirates out.
No.
They're good.
No, they're sure not. Yeah.
And Brandon, like you're saying, Brandon could get that field advantage. If Brandon beats a good Meridian team, which that ought to be a dogfight in Meridian next week between those 2 schools, you know, and then you got Northwest Rankin taking on Brandon that following week. So, I mean, anything can happen. Plus, Pearl comes to Oak Road next week.
Yeah.
But I thought earlier in the season, that would have been for your championship. Now, it's going to be between who gets 2, 3, and 4 in the standings on the coast.
Right.
You've already apparently got the coast set with Gulfport and Ocean Springs. They square off next week, and right there, I'm already going to make this prediction. Right there is going to be your championship ball game. If Gulfport plays like they did tonight, and Ocean Springs pulls it off, there's going to be a barn burner on that coast next week.
Absolutely. All right, Harold, we got to run. Thanks for the call. Thanks for your for calling in every week about Petal. We'll talk to you next week.
Buddy, I'm going to do everything I can for this school.
All right,
Thanks
there
so
you
much.
go. All right, thank you. All right, I think we've got another
Mike
call.
from
Mike
Hattiesburg.
from Hattiesburg, and Mike, looks like the Tigers are got things moving in the right direction.
Oh, absolutely. Made a short trip down Interstate 59 tonight to play Pearl River Central. Tigers win at 46-6, and in the process clinch a playoff spot tonight. So that's good, and schedule gets a little bit tougher next week as we battle a much improved Terry Ball Club.
Yeah, Terry's got not a bad team at all. I mean, they went to West Jones and lost by a safety of all things, but they're a competitive team for sure in 6A.
Oh, absolutely. I was at that West Jones Terry game when they hit a 2-run home run in the second quarter.
And that was it. Well, I mean, again, the Tigers, that's their 6th win against 2 losses. Certainly got the momentum going in the right direction as they get down here toward the end of the season.
Oh, absolutely. That's when you want to be playing your best balls at the end of the year. But like I said, move to 2-0 in the region, clinch a playoff spot, and hopefully we can make it 3-0 against Terry next week.
All right. Thanks a lot, Harold. I'm sorry, Mike. I'm sorry. I looked at the wrong thing. I appreciate you calling in and giving us the report, and we'll talk to you next week.
All right. Have a good one, guys.
All right. You too. Thanks a lot. That's Mike from Hattiesburg. And we have a familiar person.
Yep. Carrie Metzler.
Carrie Metzler. Carrie, good to talk to you tonight. Seems like the Maroon Tide is also moving in the right direction. They had a big win tonight.
Yeah, went on the road to Long Beach. Much improved Long Beach team. Matt's done a good job of those guys down there. They run the old Bill Yeoman veer offense. And I tell you what, you got to be on your toes to defend it.
Yeah.
They moved the ball not pretty well at times. Tide got off to a great start in the first half. Darrell Smith touched it 7 times in the first half. He ran for 5 touchdowns, and Tide led 35-0. Hot clock invoked in the third quarter, and then in that quarter, Nike Ratcliffe runs a 57-yard touchdown run. The Tide gives up a pick six later in the game, and a final 42-7.
Okay, 42-7. I knew that Picayune had a big lead. I did not know what the final was. You mentioned the veer. Now the veer. Now a lot of people out there don't even know what that is. But it's an option, but it's usually out of a split back, and that was popular like in the 70s. Am I right? Correct?
Yeah, Bill Yeoman invented it, if I'm not mistaken.
Uh-huh.
I think
that's right.
First time I think he invented that offense, and he had got some ideas from Darrell Roll about it. I'm not going to go Woody Hayes and Bo Schembrecht this week since I messed that one up last week.
Yeah.
But I will say that the Bears are tough, and they do a good job with it. They got some good young backs. They're a relatively young ball club with Long Beach, so keep your hat to them. They're heading the right direction down there. I think they got a guy down there who understands what has to happen, and they'll only get better. And we're glad to go on the road and get a win tonight. Sets up a big game next week. We're going to play at Lucedale, taking on a very talented George County team, and
yes.
That ought to be a good one. I know Coach Stogner will have his guys ready. I know George County will be ready. It ought to be a really, really, really good football game next Friday.
Yeah, George County is the team with the quarterback that went somewhere else and kind of came in during the course of the season. Is that not right?
That's correct, Duke Knight, I think. And
yeah.
I may be incorrect on this. I think he's a Notre Dame commit. I may be wrong about that, but I think he's a Notre Dame commit. But, he's a good athlete. I mean, he really is. Done a good job, and you get a guy with his height, his speed, his strength in high school football. It's hard to defend sometimes. So we'll have a work cut out for us next week. But I'm confident Coach Stogner and his staff will be ready to play. But I'm sure George County will be in a big home game for them down there. And I say it. We'll try to step it on and get after them next week. We hope we get out some on that long road trip.
Yeah. Now Picayune has had some injuries during the course of the season. What's the status on getting some of those players back?
Well, quick Chris Davis, he's been out since early in the year with Stanford commit. He hasn't played since I'm thinking second, third week. My Thursdays and Fridays all run together. I think it's the third game of the year, but he hasn't played since then. Not sure if we'll get him back. I'm not going to speculate because I don't know. I hear he could come back and play for us at some point, but you're not going to speculate. Other than that, for the most part, this team's been pretty healthy. The normal week in, week out nicks and bruises and all that. But, a lot of these guys have had that before and they've played through that. But quick Chris being out has forced us to move some people around, like Darrell Smith, a young man he played quarterback for us last year. He's done a little bit of everything. He's a wing back. He used to play defense. Now he's primarily our feature back in the offense and doing a great job. I mean, he's a very, very shifty runner. He's a good receiver. He gets the ball to him out in space, out in the flats. He can turn it upfield and do a lot of damage. So we've been real fortunate. Quick Chris is really the only injury per se that's kept somebody from missing a couple of games. And hopefully, God willing, he'll come back and play for the Marine Tide before the season's over.
Well, I hope so because he's a good football player. Certainly enjoyed watching him. I remember him in the championship game last year. What a big game he had. So hopefully you can get him back at some point.
Let's hope so. I'll tell you what, he's a good athlete, a good young man. I hope some good things will happen for him to get a chance to play some more high school football and maybe be healthy enough to play in the Mid-South game, which he's a part of that roster as well.
Right. All right, Kerry, thanks so much for your call. We always appreciate you calling in about Picayune, and we look forward to talking to you after a big game against George County next week.
I appreciate it, George. Thanks to Chris. Chris, you're a trooper.
Yes.
Thank you. Up and going. I was worried about that last week when Russ told me, and then let's keep old Rusty Nail in our prayers that he'll heal quickly as well.
All right. Thank you so much, Kerry. Talk to you next week.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that almost wraps up the first hour. Chris, we've made it through one. We can make it through a two.
I thought we did great on the first hour.
I think we made it fine. Ty's working our phones, and you're our studio engineer, and we've got Noah Crow coming up with the Cra Z at the bottom of the next hour. But until then, we'll continue on with scores and calls and talking about high school football tonight in the state of Mississippi. We'll remind you that support for Friday Night Under the Lights comes from Cricket Wireless. They have phones, plans, all kinds of coverage information can be found on their website, which is cricketwireless.com. Back with more Friday Night Under the Lights in a moment.
People who come to Cricket stay with Cricket. Like one of our favorite customers, Michelle.
I started my own app company, and with Cricket, I'm able to answer calls from my engineers and investors and know my signal's going to be great. If I had to describe Cricket in 2 words, they would be reliable and affordable.
5G Boss Mode activate. Smile, you're on Cricket.
Leaky roof? Malone Roofing has you covered long after the storm. Mississippi's roofing experts, setting the industry standards. Family owned for over 50 years. Call today or visit online at ecmalone.com.
Hello, Mississippi. Did you know that the average student graduates college with $30,000 worth of debt? That amount of debt can delay major life milestones, including getting married, buying a home, and starting a family. But don't worry, we've got some good news for you tonight. College Savings Mississippi and Treasurer David McRae can help you reduce or eliminate that debt. Their plans are flexible and affordable. Start saving for as little as $25 today. Visit treasury.ms.gov/college savings to learn more.
Did you know HBCUs are a great place to network? Did you know Cricket has a great network with speedy 5G and is a proud supporter of HBCUs? Yes.
Everybody already knows.
Dante, did you know this is an A and B conversation? So you need to see yourself out. He knows now.
When storms strike and wind and hail wreak havoc, Malone Residential Roofing is there through the restoration process all the way to completion. Contact Malone for your free storm inspection and consultation at ecmalone.com.
George, it is hour number 2.
It is hour number 2 of Friday Night Under the Lights as we continue on talking about high school football in the state of Mississippi. George Broadstreet with you. Chris Saxton is our studio engineer. Ty Bailey's working our phones. Always want to remember the great one, Russ Robinson, the creator of this show some 33 years ago. And Russ is kind of under the weather tonight, and we wish him well and know he'll be fine. But, you know, Russ has had one of those kind of years where he's had to miss a lot, and unfortunately had to miss tonight, but hopefully we'll have him back for the rest of the way out. Let's go over some more scores until we get another caller. Poplarville defeated Bay High tonight by the score of 38-24.
Season where they would get a run for their money. So Ocean Springs defense is legit, man. And they really showed it tonight. So yeah, there are plenty of other hosts of games that I could talk about.
Well, what was the final of that Ocean Springs Biloxi game?
Yeah, 42-21, man.
Oh, okay, 42-21. Okay, I didn't know. All right, give us some more. Give us a couple more.
Yeah, Gulfport, man, they're looking strong in district play right now. They moved to 3-0. They had St. Martin. Now, St. Martin, they are not good this year, of course. They have not got a win in the win column. So Gulfport just rolled over them 42-0 in that matchup. And then we had Harrison Central. Harrison Central is really coming along. I know they had a coach. They've actually been having a lot of close games this season, Harrison Central, and they're off to a tear. They defeated D'Iberville today. And D'Iberville, man, has been a touted program for the past couple of years, but this year they've just not been on it. In D'Iberville, Harrison Central took that one 46-43. That was just some of the 7A ball right there. Moving on, we had a host of other games down here, man, that were pretty good. In 6A ball, Picayune they're just rolling. You know, they're juggernauts down here. Picayune is basically a big-time favorite in 6A, but we'll see if they can continue it on now. I know they had some setbacks with their running back, Chris Davis, but Darrell Smith has really been coming along a lot right behind Chris Davis, man. So Darrell Smith is the guy to look out for, man. He's got a couple of offers, but I think this year you're going to see him come out with some more big-time D1 offers. The guy is truly special. And they will roll over Long Beach 42-7. Like I said, Pascagoula will get a win over Hancock and George County right now, 3-0. So those are your big three teams right there in the 6A. George County with a win 54-19 over West Harrison. Deuce Knight and company is big-time ball. And I mean, hey, George County must be football right now on the coast, if you ask me.
Give me that score one more time. George County won over West Harrison.
54-19.
54-19. Okay. All right, Austin. Thank you so much for that report. That was a lot of games that you got in there, and we appreciate it. Thank you so much for joining us and giving us a report on Gulf Coast football, and we look forward to talking to you next week.
Of course, man. Thank you for having me on. All
right, Austin Lindsay reporting from the Gulf Coast. Let's see, Chris. I don't know that we have another call at the moment, but you know, he gave us some games and reminded me of some games that we've talked about, but maybe not reported on that much. And I'm really surprised we've not gotten a call from anybody on the MRA prep game, which apparently went to overtime, and MRA won by the score of 50-44. So that makes prep 7-3. I don't know how long it's been since prep lost 3 games in 1 year, but they've lost to, let me see, they lost to West Jones, and they've lost to Hartfield, and they lost to MRA. So all those are good football teams.
Yes, they are, and they will. Even at 7-3, I think they'll still make the playoffs.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's just
but
a matter
it'll be
of the
a crazy shootout in the playoffs too.
Well, it certainly will, and be interesting to see. You know, I mean, that's the kind of thing. I mean, I never did like, especially in football. Now in basketball, you do this all the time. Baseball, you do this all the time. But in football, it's never good to play the same team twice. in the same year. I always feel like if you won the first time, I'm always a little bit leery about the second go-around.
Well, it is. It's because the coaches have worked up strategies for that first game.
Yeah.
Now you've given them all that strategies. The second game coming around, and you're going to have to use some of the same stuff.
Right, right.
But you know what's really wild to me is, as many times as we've talked tonight, is the amount of MHSAA 7A teams that are looking at that bubble of not
making it.
Not making it. And I don't, we didn't have something written down, but I think there's just going to be surprises of those who don't make it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, there are going to be some good teams that are going to be left out of the playoffs. There's no question about it in 7A. No doubt about it.
And maybe some, like Meridian, making it in.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's playing that. Oh, my goodness. If Zion Isabella's on.
Yeah, I don't think he's quite ready for that yet. But we might could get her in here before the bottom of the hour. But some other games, Columbia defeated Lawrence County 41-14. Mentioned this one. This was a little bit of a surprise to me that Madison Central beat Germantown 49-0. I mean, Madison Central, they're like 5-3. They've lost 3 games, but they've lost to some good teams. When they get it together, Madison Central is pretty tough.
Oh, they're tough to roll over.
Yeah.
They just
beat Germantown tonight 49-0. Let's see. I think we do have Isabella.
There she is. Hang on. Hello, Isabella.
Hello. How are you doing?
We're fine. We're kind of playing a little shorthanded tonight. Russ is not able to be with us, but I believe you're calling in about the Warren Central Vikings.
Yes. We played Neshoba Central tonight at Neshoba Central, and we improved 3-0 in the district and 6-2 overall. We beat them 27-3. I don't think that score is indicative of the caliber of a team that Neshoba is. They shot themselves in the foot a lot with penalties and then several turnovers actually and everything. They look good and everything, even though they got into the team, but
right.
That kind of puts us in the driver's seat in our region, though, and everything. If I'm not mistaken, one more win, and we should be able to lock up first place. If I'm not mistaken, I think that's
right. Well, last week, I know you gave us a report last week on the game against Vicksburg, and that was kind of it was a rough, sloppy game, but Warren Central came out on top.
We clung on for dear life is what we did.
Yeah.
We come down to the last play of the last few seconds, and we managed to tip it away and get an interception.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like the Vikings had a little bit easier time tonight, even though that was on the road.
We did. Like I said, penalties and turnovers really hurt Neshoba Central. They're a better team than what the score indicated. But, I was very proud of the Vikings. We had some good defensive stands when we moved it and everything, and, we did shut them out. We kept them out of the end zone. I mean, they got a field goal, but the offense was shut out. So,
well, I tell you something. I know Warren Central football for years, and I've never known Warren Central not to have a pretty good defense. I mean, it's just one of those things. Yeah, I mean, it's just something.
Our defense has kept us in games numerous years.
Right.
Numerous years.
Absolutely.
So I'm a big historian as far as statistics and stuff. I'm gonna tell you a name, and you can talk about it on the air if you want and see what you remember.
Okay.
I think I got this right. Was it Caldwell Lee or Columbus Lee? Do you remember that school?
Columbus Lee.
Columbus Lee.
Yeah.
I was thinking about them the other day and everything. They was a powerhouse in their day. I don't know. I think they consolidated it and just became Columbus High School.
I think they did. I'm not 100% sure of that, but yeah, I remember the name Columbus Lee. That was, of course, a lot of the schools, their names have changed a little bit and consolidated and different things, but I remember that one for sure. All right.
They was a powerhouse.
Yeah. Well, Isabella, thank you so much for calling
Yes,
in,
sir.
and appreciate. Now, I'm not going to say this. You brought us a couple of pecan pies. We kind of made a joke about that early on in the season, and you brought us a couple of pecan pies about 3 or 4 weeks ago, and they were really good. You made those yourselves?
No, I didn't. I've got a friend of mine.
Oh.
Very close to me. I can cook like a house on fire, but pastry is not my forte.
Well, I'm
So
telling
I had
you.
Alicia.
Okay, I'm telling you, those were good.
They were good.
They were good. They really were, and we sincerely appreciate it.
Well, I will need to get y'all a couple of more over there, and I will bring you what I do cook. It's called a pizza lemonade pie.
All right. Well,
along with it and everything.
Well, if you look at us, you know we'll eat a lot. So we appreciate it. Okay.
All
right. Thanks a lot,
All right.
Isabella. We'll talk
You're
to you.
welcome.
We'll talk to you later on. All right. Well, the music has started. We're at the bottom of the hour. We've got Noah Crow coming up in just a few moments. He's going to give us our Crazy Eights report for the night. We'll remind you that support for Friday Night Under the Lights comes from Malone Roofing. They do metal walls maintenance serving Mississippi, Alabama, Louisiana, and Florida's Panhandle. Commercial and residential roofing information can be found on their website, which is ecmalone.com. Back with more Friday Night Under the Lights in just a moment.
People who come to Cricket stay with Cricket. Like one of our favorite customers, Michelle.
I started my own app company, and with Cricket, I'm able to answer calls from my engineers and investors and know my signal's going to be great. If I had to describe Cricket in 2 words, they would be reliable and affordable.
5G Boss Mode activate. Smile, you're on Cricket.
Mississippi football families, have you thought about how you're going to tackle student loan debt? Don't do it on your own. Pass the ball to State Treasurer David McRae and his College Savings Mississippi team today. With College Savings Mississippi, you can lock in today's tuition rate, prepay college, and avoid student loan debt altogether. Don't let your finances get sacked because you didn't invest in your child's education. Visit treasury.ms.gov/college savings to learn more today.
Anytime, any storm. Malone Roofing has you covered. Number 1 in roof replacements, roof repairs, and sheet metal fabrication. Call today or visit online at ecmalone.com. Family owned for over 50 years.
1 in 10 Mississippians has unclaimed money awaiting claim at the state treasury. There's literally hundreds of millions of dollars waiting to be united with the rightful owner. At www.treasury.ms.gov to search. You'll see your name and stake your claim by following these instructions. You'll be asked for some basic ID like a copy of your license or a government-issued ID, then hit send. Treasurer David McRae has a dedicated unclaimed money team awaiting your claim, ready to return your money. Don't wait. Look for your name and stake your claim today. www.treasury.ms.gov.
Well, it's a bob and half for the hour, and it's time for Crazy H, George, and Noah's on the phone waiting for you.
All right, it is 11:30, and it is time for Crazy Eights, and Noah Crow is our Crazy eight-man football expert, and Noah's on the phone. And Noah, tell us about the game tonight that you were covering.
I covered the Deer Creek versus West Memphis Christian game. The Deer Creek won 46-38.
Okay.
It was one of those games. There was 11 lead changes. 11.
Well, sounds like a good ball game. Was that at Deer Creek?
It was at Deer Creek.
Okay. All right. Go ahead.
And you haven't heard
the best stat of the night was Braden Smith, the running back for Deer Creek. He had 28 carries, 278 yards rushing, and 4 touchdowns.
Good gosh. I mean, even in 8-man football, 278 yards is a lot of rushing yards in one ball game.
Now, did I mishear it, or did he say she?
I don't know. He.
Okay, was he?
Okay.
Sorry, I was going, man, tell me about this girl.
No.
And these weren't wide open runs either. He was running through tackles.
Okay.
Running through arm tackles.
Sound like a good performance. I know we're going to get your report in just a moment, but have you got some other scores that you'd like to give us tonight?
Humphreys Academy beat Hebron Academy 66-26. Calhoun beat Kemper 55-14. Lee Academy beat Delta Academy 64-18. Tallulah beat Claiborne Academy 44-16. Sharkey's Aquina beat River Oak School 36-0. Riverdale beat Kennesaw 54-0. Bradford Academy beat Wilkerson County Christian School 60-6. Riverdale Academy beat Kennesaw Academy 64-0. Christian Collegiate Academy beat Franklin Academy 42-0. DeSoto Academy beat Parker's Christian 29-3. Newton Academy beat Park Place 42-8. North Sunflower beat Hillcrest Christian School 64-8. Porter's Chapel won against Cra Z Academy to remain undefeated 42-13. Tunica Academy beat Marvel Academy 44-8. In our game, Deer Creek won their 3rd straight game in a row, beating West Memphis Christian School 46-38.
All right, Noah, thank you for that. And I believe, Chris, have we got the video, audio that we want to run?
Right, well, as you let know who we're going to interview, and we'll play it.
All right, Noah, who are we going to be listening to?
You'll hear my talk with Braden Smith and Javion Williams, both running backs for Delta Academy, and Coach Benny McClendon.
All right, Chris, let's roll
Here we
that.
go.
Okay.
Aggressive, B-E aggressive, B-E-A-G-G-R.
Number 7 forward. Braden Smith, number 3.
I'm here at Deer Creek School as they beat West Memphis Christian School 48-38. I'm here with Braden Smith, our Cricket Wireless player of the game, and Javon Williams, our impact player of the game. Braden, you had 4 touchdowns, over 200 yards rushing. What was it like out there?
Oh, it was great. It was great coming together as an offense. We knew that we could score a lot of points. We put it all together. O-line played great. We had a couple early mistakes, but we bounced back. O-line played great. Great blocking. No stupid penalties. We did solid on offense.
And what does it say about your team to be able to withstand their punch every inning with every quarter, or since it was 11?
We knew that they had an offense, but we knew that if we clicked, we'd be fine, and we'd end up stopping them. We just had to dig deep and stop giving up big plays. Was the main goal, was stop giving up big plays, because we could stop them on the low runs, get them to 3rd, 4th down, they score just off big plays. They never drove the ball. But
what did Coach say in practice this week to get y'all prepared for this game?
The same thing. Really just O-line blocking, not having dumb penalties, and tackling and playing hard on defense was the main goal, because we knew we were the better team coming in.
On Javion?
Yes, sir.
You had a crucial interception in the second quarter.
Yes, sir.
What do you think about the team's performance today?
I feel like we played great overall as a team.
I mean, offensive line played great. We ran the ball pretty well. Yeah, we made some big plays when we needed to make them, and yeah.
What is it like to have a counterpart like Braden Smith? He has your backup. He has your co-starter running back.
I mean, me and Braden, man, we the best duo in the nation, I think. And I feel like any one of us, we get the ball, we're going to take it. I mean, we ran the ball most of the time. I'm really a receiver, but I'm a running back also as well. I didn't get as many catches as I wanted tonight, but we got the win, so that's all that matters. That's all I really care about. And
what do you hope this team takes away in their regular season final into playoffs starting next week?
Adversity. We just got to play well. Don't get too many penalties. Block. We're on a 3-game win streak right now. We plan to continue to make that 4 once we go into the playoffs. We hope to host. We'll find out tonight when the rankings come out. So yeah, we want to go in there, win the first round, and we hope to win state championship.
Thank you. I'm here with Coach Benny McClendon of Deer Creek School. What does it say about your team to be able to fight through adversity, to have 11 lead changes and still come out?
Well, we've been pretty good about fighting and staying focused all year. We've been blessed. The last 3 or 4 weeks we come out on top, but had a lot of injuries early in the year, and the kids kept fighting, and they getting a little bit better. And it was just a great game. West Memphis played their tails off too, so it was just a great game.
What is it like to have a running back like Braden Smith that had over 20 carries, 200 yards rush, and 4 touchdowns?
Well, that makes the coach look good when he called the plays. I can tell you that.
And what does it say about your offense today to be able to come back, to be able to withstand everything?
Well, you know, we've been pretty good on offense. Defense has been our shortcoming this year so far, but our defense has gotten better the last 2 or 3 weeks, and offense has continued to improve. And we're young. We've only got 3 seniors playing, so, you know, future look good for next year anyway.
And what do you hope this team takes away into next week as they go into playoffs?
Well, we just got to stay focused and battle and do our homework and be prepared and come out and play hard and get after it.
I'm here with Rex of Cricket Wireless. What is it about the community that Cricket Wireless loves so much?
Well, know what? Cricket understands that the community is the backbone. When the residents speak, Cricket listens. Not only do we listen, but we come out, you know, and interact with the community. We want to stay involved as much as possible with the community. So we do understand that Cricket, the community is the backbone.
And tell us more about that QR code everybody's talking about.
I'm glad you asked. The QR code, Noah, at any Cricket Wireless store, you can scan that QR code. It bridges that digital gap. You scan that code and you can actually try Cricket for 14 days. So any your nearest Cricket Wireless store, just go in and speak to any one of the employees, and they'll be able to take care of you.
It is also on our website at FridayNightUnderTheLights.com. Crazy Eights is brought to you by Cricket Wireless. Smile, your own Cricket. Department of Treasury's Unclaimed Money and Impact Mississippi, along with Malone Roofing. Live from Deer Creek Academy, I'm Noah Crow. All right, Noah, thank you for that report. Are you with us there?
I am.
All right, well, thank you for that. Sound like a good ball game tonight, Deer Creek.
It was a good ball game. It was the best one we've seen all year.
Yeah, okay. All right, well, have you got next week penciled in? Where are you headed next week?
I'm not. I'll be in studio next week.
Oh, okay.
But the playoff bracket has been announced.
Okay. All right. Can you give us the playoffs bracket real quick?
I can.
All right.
DeSoto's in 1A, in 2A. No, it's flipped to 1A. Talent Academy got the number 1 seed. They have a bye. Then Elite Academy got the 4 seed. Sharky's Cleaner got the 2 seed. And Riverdale got the 3 seed. All with byes.
Then it goes to West Wilkes County Christian Academy hosting River Oaks, Tallulah Academy, 5 seed hosting Kennesaw Academy, the 12 seed. Franklin Academy, the 7 seed hosting the 10 seed Kemper Academy, and the 6 seed Brownsville Academy hosting the 11 seed Claysburg Academy. On 2A side, DeSoto School is number 1 seed hosting, and Porter's Chapel is the number 4 seed, and they are on a bye as well. Newton Academy is number 2 seed, they're on bye, and Christian Collegiate is on bye as well. The number 8 seed is Bensport Christian, they're hosting number 9 seed North Sunflower. Number 5 seed Deer Creek School is hosting number 12 seed Prairie View Academy. Number 7 seed Princess Christian is hosting number 10 seed Delta Academy, and number 6 seed Tunica Academy is hosting 11 seed Park Place Christian School.
All right. It sounds like a good lineup, and we look forward. We'll have you in the studio next week, and we'll be getting a report on those games. Thanks so much, Noah. We appreciate it, and we look forward to talking to you next week.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
All right. Thank you very much. Well, Chris, we're almost to the end of this quarter hour. We've got a call with kind of the resident Mississippi expert on high school football, Brandon Shields, which we'll be getting to after the next break. I did want to get in one score. I did get a final, finally. That Tupelo-Clinton game, Tupelo did win that game by the score of 42-28 was the final. That was probably a lot closer than a lot of people expected it to be. But that was the final there. Tupelo winning that game over the Clinton Arrows.
Especially since Clinton had been beat up so badly earlier.
Man. Well, that game they had against Starkville the week before was not a good game for Clinton, and so they played a very good game tonight against Tupelo, and Tupelo, is making some noise. They're now 7-2 on the season. All right, when we come back, we'll have Brandon Shields, and we'll be wrapping up the show. Again, remind you that support from Friday Night Under the Lights comes from Cricket Wireless. They have phones, plans, and coverage information that can be found on their website, which is cricketwireless.com. Remind you that the conclusion of Friday Night Under the Lights for this week will come up in just a moment. We'll be back with just a moment.
Roof problems? Malone Roofing has you covered. Mississippi's residential and commercial roofing experts. Our work proves it. Call today or visit online at ecmalone.com. Family owned for over 50 years.
See your name and file your claim. Even the smallest counties in Mississippi usually have thousands of people whose names are on the unclaimed money list at the Mississippi State Treasury. That's right. Many counties even have tens of thousands of names listed, totaling tens of millions in unclaimed dollars. Since he's been state treasurer, David McRae has returned a record $80 million to Mississippians who've searched the list, found their names, and staked their claim. About 1 in 10 Mississippians have unclaimed money, and that's why you should check www.treasury.ms.gov or click on Unclaimed Money and search today. If you see your name, file your claim. If it's your money, Treasurer David McRae will get it back to you.
People who come to Cricket stay with Cricket. Like one of our favorite customers, Michelle.
I started my own app company, and with Cricket, I'm able to answer calls from my engineers and investors and know my signal's going to be great. If I had to describe Cricket in 2 words, they would be reliable and affordable.
5G Boss Mode activate. Smile, you're on Cricket.
Hello, Mississippi. Did you know that the average student graduates college with $30,000 worth of debt? That amount of debt can delay major life milestones, including getting married, buying a home, and starting a family. But don't worry, we've got some good news for you tonight. College Savings Mississippi and Treasurer David McRae can help you reduce or eliminate that debt. Their plans are flexible and affordable, Start saving for as little as $25 today. Visit treasury.ms.gov/college savings to learn more.
George, can you believe we're to the end of the show, our last 15 minutes, and we've got Brandon Shields on the phone for you?
Yes, we're at the last segment, and normally in the last segment of the evening, we have Brandon Shields, kind of a resident Mississippi high school football kind of guru. And Brandon, thank you for joining us. Which ball game did you take in tonight?
I was at Clinton Tupelo.
Okay. I was thinking you were at Brandon Pearl, but you decided to go to Tupelo Clinton.
Well, long story short, I committed to this game way back before the season started.
Okay.
And it actually turned out not bad. So,
yeah, I mean, that was a much more competitive game than I expected it to be.
Yeah, it was. It was a lot. Clinton hung in there. They fought. I mean, they did just those two bad turnovers, back-to-back plays. They fumbled the ball on their own 2-yard line. The Tupelo scored to tie the game on the last play of the third quarter. And then their very next play, the first play of the fourth quarter, they fumbled it again at their own 18-yard line, and Tupelo scored off that to take the lead, 35-28.
Yeah. Okay.
They hung around there. Clinton. I mean, me and Coach Boswell were talking before the game. Just never seen the team just depleted with so many injuries, and especially, of course, they're all starters. Since he told me it's 10 total starters out, injuries, and they can't catch a break. And they're going to be so that's just the way it is in Tupelo. And they fought to the very end with Tupelo, and we know how I feel about the Golden Blade. So, and they gave them all they wanted. So.
Well, you know, I don't recall who Clinton has next week. Is it Madison Central?
They have Germantown.
Germantown,
so, yeah. So the winner of that game will be the 4th seed.
Okay.
So,
well, what's happened to Germantown? I mean, you know, they had that huge win against Starkville, which was just a tremendous win, and then the last couple of weeks they've really had some blowout losses.
Some injuries.
Okay.
Like another Nye Johnson, their starting running back, got hurt against Tupelo early in the game last week. So that hurt them a little bit. And then, of course, Madison was on a mission tonight, and that's one way to put it because of just they 0-1 in the district, so they lost to Tupelo their first district game. They played that non-region game last week, won, but tonight they wanted to make a statement, and did they ever?
Yeah.
Winning 49-0.
Right. Well, let me ask you, I know you've probably heard a little bit about the Brandon Pearl game, which Brandon won 42-20. Pearl led at the half, but Brandon, you know, kind of dominated the second half. I really expected that game to be a little closer than that.
From what I gathered, they a couple of turnovers in the second half, and apparently they couldn't guard Jay McQueen. He had 5 touchdown catches.
Yeah.
So from that, all I've gathered so far. We'll spend tomorrow catching up, but that was kind of had a feeling it was going to be close to start the game. If Pearl could just take care of the ball and not turn the ball over, that would be in their advantage somewhat.
Yeah.
And obviously, a couple of turnovers in the second half changed the momentum of the game.
So turnovers has seemed like they've cost them. The games they have lost, the 2 games they've lost, it's been because they've turned the ball over.
Yeah. I was at the Northwest Rankin game. They turned the ball over 4 times.
Yeah.
2 of them were in the first half when it was pouring down raining. So you can tell what happened in that one. A couple of bad snaps were you can blame that one on the weather.
Yeah.
But Northwest Rankin handled the weather better than Pearl did. And,
who did Northwest Rankin play tonight? I don't know that I've ever gotten their score.
they played Oak Grove, and Oak Grove won 45-15.
Okay, I have not reported that game. So 45-15, Oak Grove won, and that was at Oak Grove.
No, that was at Northwest Rankin.
Oh, that's right. That was at Northwest Rankin. Okay. Is there any other game out there that just kind of caught your attention? How the outcome?
Just, going over them now. Just kind of. I'm kind of doing that right now. Just Vicksburg getting a big win over Callaway, 18-16, to kind of keep their playoff hopes alive in Region 2-6A.
Yeah.
A lot of district. Clinton beating Forest tonight, 35-14, to claim the Region 5-4A. To claim the number one seed in Region 5-4A. JDC winning the region in Region 6-3A over McGee. Weston beating South Pike 42-20 to stay undefeated, and they play Jefferson County next week. If they win, they're the one seed. So get to spend all weekend determining the playoff scenarios for classes 4A, 3A, 2A, 1A, and get to be at the MHSA office next Thursday night to fill out these brackets.
Right. Let me mention one of the Columbia 4A school, 9-0. They defeated Lawrence County tonight, 41-14. That's a South Mississippi school, but Columbia's had a good season.
Yeah, they've had a good season. I don't want to say they've dominated, but they've done well so far.
Yeah.
They just kept doing what they do. They don't. Sometimes when Bilderback calls me on Sundays, but sometimes the score may seem lopsided, but it's not as. Sometimes they're not as pretty as it looks.
Right.
So,
well, let me ask you. Yeah, let me ask you about another. Meridian has been a little bit of a surprise. They're always talented, but they struggle at different parts of the season. They kind of got a slow start, but they're winning some ball games now.
Yeah, and that's Marcus Bowles. Marcus Bowles just doing what he does. They're putting Daniel Hill at quarterback, putting your best player at quarterback, and having him touch the ball every play was probably a good idea.
Yeah.
And it's worked so far.
Yeah. Let me give you one more. North Mississippi, this is a 4A, but Ripley defeated Amory tonight. Those are both teams, both undefeated.
Yeah.
That was a big game.
Ripley wins the 1-4A title, 14-10 win. They have a really, really good defense. And they have a lot of small, low-key guys that they just play hard, play good defense, and they just do what they do. And they're going to be a hard team to play in the playoffs.
Right.
Especially because they're the number one seed. They'll have basically home field advantage throughout the whole stuff.
Okay. Nick, looking forward to next week. Do you have a game picked out?
Probably Meridian and Brandy.
Okay. That'll be a good one.
So that's Thursday, probably go to Raymond. Raymond plays Macomb.
Yeah.
The Region 4A title. No matter what, the winner's the 1 seed, loser's the 2 seed, so you get a home first round playoff game no matter what. So it's that time.
Yes, it is. Brandon, thank you for calling in, and thank you for all the information that you share with us. We look forward to talking to you next week.
All right, thanks.
All right, Chris, we're just about to the end of the hour. Been an interesting night for sure. I know you played hurt. Ty and I are, I think, functional. But Russ, we missed him tonight, and hopefully he'll be back with us next week. He's a little under the weather tonight. But it's been a good show, and I thank you for your efforts in being here.
No, it's been a great show. Learned a lot tonight, and it's going to be an exciting road into the playoffs.
It certainly is. Well, we thank you so much for everyone that joined us tonight here on MPB. We'll be back next week with more Friday Night Under the Lights. Hopefully we'll have a full crew. Noah Crow with 8-Man Football will be in the house, so that will be interesting. But remind you that Ty Bailey worked our phones. Chris is our studio engineer. Russ Robinson's our creative genius, who was not here tonight. And I'm George Broadstreet. Thank you so much for joining us. We look forward to another week next week and more of Friday Night Under the Lights.
Hello, Mississippi. Did you know that the average student graduates college with $30,000 worth of debt? That amount of debt can delay major life milestones, including getting married, buying a home, and starting a family. But don't worry, we've got some good news for you tonight. College Savings Mississippi and Treasurer David McRae can help you reduce or eliminate that debt. Their plans are flexible and affordable. Start saving for as little as $25 today. Visit treasury.ms.gov/college savings to learn more.
People who come to Cricket stay with Cricket. Like one of our favorite customers, Michelle.
I started my own app company, and with Cricket, I'm able to answer calls from my engineers and investors and know my signal's going to be great. If I had to describe Cricket in 2 words, they would be reliable and affordable.
5G Boss Mode activate. Smile, you're on Cricket.
When storms rage, Malone responds. From claim to completion, Malone Roofing has helped rebuild communities for nearly 50 years. Contact Malone for 24/7 service at ecmalone.com.
If the money's yours, you should have it. That's why State Treasurer David McRae has returned a record $80 million in unclaimed money to Mississippians. And there's hundreds of millions more, maybe with your name on it. Check the list. Visit www.treasury.ms.gov and see if you have any of the unclaimed money. Each year, banks, utilities, businesses, brokers, and insurance companies turn over millions of dollars to the state because they're not sure who is entitled to the funds. Treasurer McRae has an entire unclaimed money staff waiting to take your claim and return your money. Check the list today. Treasurer